Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. I want to jump right into it here, Steve. If you are over 50 years old and you're putting money in a 401k, you've been able to put in an extra $11,250 as a catch-up provision.
Yes.
But analyst Dan Geltrude tells Fox Business that starting next year, that extra money will have to be put into an after-tax Roth if you make a lot of money.
This is the government saying, you know what? We actually want our cut up front if you are older than 50 years old and making $145,000 or more. When you're in a Roth situation, you do have the ability to allow that investment to grow tax-free. You get it back, not having to pay the tax.
God, I'll tell you what, the government, man, they're always wanting something from us. Now they want their cut up front, Steve.
I found that to be really interesting because the people who make more money are probably the ones who need the write-off up front.
Exactly.
So leave it to the government to get things backwards. But I don't mind it because while you're working, you can afford to pay a little more tax. And so I really don't have a big problem with it. The biggest problem I have is part of the rules are going to mess up people if you don't have a Roth option on the 401k, Jess. But by the way, like 99% of the plans do, and probably with the advent of this change, most likely all the plans out there will change with it and allow and have a Roth 401k option. So let me just break that down real quick. So what that means is, okay, most of the country does a traditional 401k, meaning you put in whatever it is, 20,000, whatever it is, the number, and you get to subtract that from your income taxes in the year that you do it. So if you're making $100 and you make a $20,000 contribution to your 401k, you're actually paying taxes on $80. Right? So that's the good news. And, of course, the bad news is the money is tax deferred, meaning you will have to pay for it in the future. So what's going on now is starting next year, if you're making over $145,000, then you have to go to the Roth. In other words, the government's not giving you an option there, which, again, is just kind of weird, but it is what it is. And I don't mind it because in the end, in the long run, we will all be better off because the Roth is a tax-free accumulation vehicle that doesn't have the rules that a tax-deferred vehicle has, Jess. So, in other words, when you're 73, you don't have to take the money out of the Roth like you do the IRA. So there's some benefits to it. It's not a bad thing. And, I think it's great to keep up on this and understand how it works. If this is something that is new to you, that just you're like, whoa, I didn't know that, Steve. How's that going to affect me? Well, here's a reason to give a call right here, right? Obviously, the legacy one was great. This one's a big one, too. So many of you probably didn't know what I just said to you. And if you're at all concerned about it or how it's going to affect you and your tax situation, you need to pick up that phone and give me a call so that we can sit down and go over it and figure out, what you should be doing and how the money should be put away for yourself for the future, right? Let's get together and talk about it.
Come in today for that 401k analysis. That phone number, 508-552-3230. 508-552-3230. The website, fairwayfinancial.net. Our buddy Warren Buffett once said, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. Let me put that in English here. Basically, pay yourself first by putting money in savings and investments before anything else. That's great advice if you're younger and you have time to do all that. But how do you apply this quote to retirement, and how can we pay ourselves in the future?
Well, I think it applies to everyone, whether you're working, not working. It's sound advice. In other words, treat your savings like a bill. I mean, you would never not pay your mortgage, and you would never probably not pay your utilities bill. Mm-hmm. So why not create a bill for savings and retirement? When I moved down here from Everett, Massachusetts, near Boston, to Plymouth, I moved into this development, and it took a few years, but more and more people moved in, and we got organized, and we had a community letter, and I was asked to contribute an article to the letter. And I still remember it. You got to remember, this was 1989, I think it was. And I wrote an article about paying yourself first. And pretty much what Warren Buffett said, only he has slightly more pull than I do, Jess.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But, he's not wrong. I mean, why not just do it? Just, save that money. Treat it like a bill. Put it away. It will pay dividends in the long run for you. And if you're retired, it's a little different when you're retired, right, Jess? Because hopefully you've done your job and you've saved the money when you get there. And when you're retired and you're not working, you need streams of income to produce checks for you when you're not working. And by the way, Warren Buffett talks about streams of income all the time and having multiple streams of income. So that's what you want to do when you're retired. And the savings part, you better have done already. So when you're younger, you've got to force yourself to save. It doesn't matter if it's $50 or $100 a month or $200. It's the habit that you get into. And once you create that habit, then you want to fuel that and just keep it going and going. And so I think it's really sound advice. I mean, it obviously doesn't shock me. Sound advice coming from someone like Warren Buffett, who is in the industry is known as the billionaire cheapskate. But, I mean, I think the guy has a station wagon that's, 15 years old. He has the same house he's lived in forever.
Yeah, and he's a billionaire.
And that's cool, and I get it, and that's fun. I personally am not like that, which is probably why I'm still working, Jess. No, but you got to be who you are and just be smart about it and just understand that, obviously, the more you save, the better you're going to be in the now and in the future.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to, I remember my first job, and my parents telling me, pay yourself first. Put a little in savings. Put a little here. Put a little here. So it's something that I think a lot of us, it's almost kind of ingrained when we're younger. But also, you talked about different streams of income. That's something that Warren Buffett is big on, right? You don't have all your eggs in one basket. And the multiple streams of income, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that you put it together and describe it is basically the buckets of money. Can you talk a little bit about the buckets you do?
Yeah, sure. I've developed this concept over 20 years ago, and I wrote about it in my book, which, by the way, is available to, everyone listening to the show. I want to get information out there. So call the show and say, hey, I want a copy of your book, Steve. We just had someone do that last week, and he called about the book. We talked a little further about his situation, and we're going to get together when I get back from vacation. That's the benefit of it, is to have a book that's been written by someone who's been around the block for over 30 years and can give you, some nuggets that you can look at and help you decipher, the internet, if you will, and decipher your future planning. But the buckets of money is just a simple concept I've come up with where you need income first. That's the first thing you need, right? The whole idea of retiring is replacing your paycheck. Okay, if you can't replace your paycheck, you can't retire. It's just a simple formula. So most people today only have Social Security to replace their paycheck as a pension, which obviously, where we live is not going to cut it. And so you need to create another income stream. Well, how can you do that? And here's a mistake most people make, Jess. They think that their 401k is an income stream. It's not. It's a pile of money that changes daily. Okay? It's good to have more of a pile, but it's not a guaranteed income stream. So what you need to do is you need to find out how to create another source of guaranteed income from the 401k money, peel off a little of that, create that stream, get to a comfort level where you can say, all right, no matter what happens in the economy, I have X number of dollars coming in. Then you can retire with greater financial confidence, having that extra income. And the way you do that is through guaranteed income annuities, which ironically are what pension plans are. Okay, that's what they are. That's what they're built upon. So why not create your own personal pension plan, if you will? So that's the philosophy behind the income bucket. And then the risk reward, the inflation bucket, I think everyone does by default by having that 401k plan. So that's a big check. Most people have that, Jess. And the next box is emergency money, which again most people have. We've all been taught to have at least 6 months of income while we're working, and to have a sum in the bank. It doesn't really matter what it earns, but just have it there liquid in case something comes up. And then your favorite bucket, Jess, what is it?
I love this one, the fun bucket.
That's what I call it. I literally call it the fun bucket. And when I'm at the seminar, all eyes are drawn to that bucket, really are.
Of course.
And they love it. They want to know, Steve, how can I get a fun bucket? I says, well, you have to do the other steps first. They have to be completed. And once they're complete, then we can fund the fun bucket with any additional monies you have. And by the way, if you don't have additional monies, it is what it is. Maybe you should work another 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? That's one of the warning signs, Jess.
Sure.
So, but that fun bucket is designed to be exactly what it sounds like. That's your travel money. That's your, I want to go to Europe. I want to do
That's
this.
That's your bucket list money, exactly.
Yeah, it's a bucket list, right? And it's a great bucket to have, because if you have it, it means you've done the other pieces and you have more stability. So it's really huge. It's not very complicated, which is why people like it. And I draw those up all the time. It's in my book. And when people come to see me, I take all the pieces. I say, here's your scenario now. Here's what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Here's where you want to be, and here's how you get there.
I was just going to say, they're looking for essentially a roadmap to get to the final destination of retirement and giving them that greater financial confidence.
It's not as complicated as the internet makes it out to be. It really isn't, folks. It's simple math. It's simple economics. You need cash flow. You need income. And that's what these things can provide to you. And at a very good return, which is guaranteed for life, which you don't have that stability in a 401k. Now, granted, a 401k is awesome, and I love it. I have one, but I also have income annuities. And obviously, I'm still working, so I have deferred income annuities that I'm going to turn on someday when I'm in my 70s, okay? I have no plans of going anywhere. Love what I'm doing. And for me, it's just fun. I love getting up in front on stage and talking to people and sharing ideas. So that's what you have to do. So if this interests any of you out there, if this makes sense to anybody listening out there, just give us a call, and I'll be happy to talk with you. Either you can come into the office in Hyannis, or if you're still working, I'll meet with you at night. I've got night appointments set up all the time. I sit in here till 7, 8 o'clock at night sometimes because people work. I get it. I have no problem doing that. And if you want to do it over the phone or a Zoom meeting, I'm happy to do that as well. So just tell them how they can get it done.
Absolutely, guys. Again, this is the conversation of paying yourself first, giving yourself that greater financial confidence, and making sure you have those multiple streams of income, filling up these different buckets, as Steve just talked about here. And that phone number, 508-552-3230, 508-552-3230. That website, again, fairwayfinancial.net. Real quick, Steve, give me your elevator pitch for somebody that's saying, oh, gosh, I'll do it next month, I'll do it next week, or you know what, 2026 is going to be my year. What's your elevator pitch to folks to get it in gear right now?
Oh, that's the kiss of death sometimes. I'll wait till next year. I don't want to get involved now and start now because we're so close to the end of the year. It's like people who go on a diet, right? I'll start in January. It's the middle of October. The holidays are coming up. I'm going to wait till January, right? You don't want to do that with your money, all right? You want to take advantage of opportunities that exist in the now. You want to know what's going on. And as it's trending, okay, interest rates are starting to decline a little bit. Not massively, but they are going down. But here's my point. If you could get, I don't know, I'm just going to use a figure here, okay? If you can get 5% on money and guarantee that for, say, 5 years, why would you wait a month or 2 or 3 when inevitably the way things are going, it's going to be 4, 4.25? Why would you give up that percent? 1% a year on $100,000, let's say, as an example, it adds up over time. And you can compound interest that too. I mean, these are just the little things that separate the successful people who save money and invest versus the unsuccessful ones who keep putting things off and doing it until I'll wait till whenever event happens. That's like saying, I'm not going to have kids until I don't know, until we get steady on our feet or something like that. Because
right, yeah, then you're never going to do it.
It's not going to happen. You got to have kids, and you deal with it. And you know, we know, okay, my audience is mostly in their 50s and 60s and 70s, so I'm in the same boat. We all have kids, right? And most of us have grandkids too, which is awesome. And listen, when we were younger, we just went ahead and we bought a house, we raised a family, and we dealt with it as we went along. You know, when it comes to money, you got to deal with it now. You got to tackle problems now. When you hear ideas, you got to jump on it. I mean, dare I say, you know, look what happened if you missed out on NVIDIA, okay? I mean, look, that's not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, by the way, but that's one of many opportunities that are out there that can literally change your financial lives. That's what I mean by opportunities, taking advantage. You know, should you do conversions now? Should you increase your 401k from now to the end of the year because they're going to change the rules on you next year, right? That's another reason to get in here and figure it out quickly and maybe bump it up. Maybe you didn't know, okay, that, you know, over 50 you can add money, and over 60 you can do a super contribution catch-up. I mean, over 60, I think it's somewhere around 30, my accountant knows these numbers better, but it's around $36,000 a year that you can contribute. I mean, that's nuts. That's a big number. And if you're not taking advantage of it, you lose it. You can't make it up in the future. Okay? Once the tax year is gone, that opportunity's gone. So stop waiting. You know, give us a call. I've had a lot of people call on the show, come in, see me, have a good conversation, and walk away more knowledgeable than when they were before.
Get more details on the website fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.